And that's been the problem. And, and I think it stems from slavery and being conditioned to think a certain way. Like in some cultures, like in Jamaica, slavery was so bad, that was such uh, a horrible thing that happened to black men in front of their families and their children. Like, to be gay in Jamaica is almost like, you're the demon of the earth. They have gay children and transsexual children living in the gullies, living under bridges and sleeping, wherever they can. But these men are still having sex with them, beating them up, doing all this crazy stuff, and making life hard for us, for a certain culture that they don't have to do that to. If you just learn to embrace and educate yourself on what is it like, we're not sick people. We're not people who have something going on in our brain. There's not a chemical imbalance. I just feel like, personally, I feel like sometimes that starts in the mother's womb, with chromosomes, and I just believe that, I don't think it's our mother's fault or anything like that, but she might have been meant to have a girl child, but because there were so many male chromosomes, that's why the child was born male. And that's how I look at the situation. Even though the child, you choose your gender as you find out who you are. And a lot of people don't believe that, but it's the truth. Your genitalia doesn't make your gender. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. And like I said, and then there's a lot of men out there who love being with transsexuals, but they're afraid of what their family's going to think. They're afraid of what their friends are going to think. And so they rather kill us or hide the situation than deal with it head on about their own situations. Like, I refuse to mess with a man who is, I cannot be a booty call. I cannot be a midnight rendezvous. I cannot be someone that is a secret. I'm not trying to go out there and boast my business, about who I am. But at the same time, don't disrespect me with that, with your own prejudice about what you think who you are, and a lot of men do that, that's just like, everybody thinks that transsexuals are prostitutes, escorts and things like that. But what they don't realize, that there are a lot of women and men who are prostitutes and escorts as well.
I'm sorry to cut you off. There's nothing wrong with being an escort and a prostitute if you're making your money and you have to do what you have to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't deserve to be murdered because you're an escort or a prostitute. Exactly. You don't deserve to be murdered because of that. I find it rather strange, Desiree, that, my parents, I love them, but I'm going to say something that my mother probably would have slapped me for now, is that I used to always question her. They live by the church 24/7. We lived good. We had a good life. Our parents didn't deny us nothing, but they put every dime they had into the church and into God, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, helping everybody else in the community. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, I never saw the preacher preach once about protecting the lives of the LGBTQ community, welcoming them, just having an open platform to where everyone is welcome. They say that, but as soon as you walk into the door, the preacher has this gay sermon coming towards your way.
Yeah.
It never fails. And mainly in the Black community, who are supposed to be devoted Christians. Now, this is what I never could understand. So, yeah, we know he's in the community, but now he's coming to church. Wouldn't you think that should be an open platform for you just to, because they probably think you're going to come into church and, I don't know what they're thinking. We know what they're
thinking. Demonic thoughts. They're thinking demonic thoughts.
And one thing about, like you said before, about Black men, they don't want to first face the sexuality thing. Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with sex. There's nothing wrong with sex at all. No matter how you get it, whatever way you like it, whatever. It's just part of who you are. But people don't deserve to be harmed because of just having sex, and just because of your sexual desires that you can't accept, you kill another human being because you thinking what society thinks or what your daddy said or your mama said or how you were conditioned. Now, what do you say? Why do you think is that, you know, the girls are aware of what's going on now. We're all aware of the trans murders. We hear about it all the time. What do you think the girls are missing that keeps them from protecting themselves every time? Because I know Black trans women, they fight back constantly. So I'm surprised they would be getting in situations to where they can have just a
So they're
little
not
bit more
mindful.
control. Hmm?
They're not mindful of their situations. They don't pay attention. They don't ask the right questions. And then a lot of times, I personally believe a lot of these girls that have been murdered have been caught off guard. They were caught off their guard by, you know, somebody pretending to love them, somebody pretending to care about them. You know, even the ones that have been out escorting or prostituting, you know, they put themselves in a predicament thinking like they're trying to make some money, get their hustle on, and then the guy flips the script. He met with you personally just to do something to you, even though you asked the right questions. But the thing about it is that you have to be mindful of situations. I'm just sorry, God gives you the most powerful thing, and that is your brain. And you should be catching those red flags and those whistles. You know, if you get that feeling, like it's just like when you meet a piece of trade, or people don't know what trade is, but if you meet a guy off the internet, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you get that tingle, you know, like for me, it's like when you go to a hotel and you look at the reviews. It's the same thing when you look at someone, go through their pictures. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I'm not talking to anyone that doesn't have a picture, A. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a picture, that means I shouldn't be having conversations with you at all, because I don't know anything about you. You know, and I don't understand people meeting someone they've never seen, you know, especially in this day and age.
Me either.
But then also the catfishing has been astronomical. And my whole thing is that if you go out your way to catfish somebody, then that means that you are up to no good and you're up to doing something wrong and hurtful and being malicious. A lot of girls are not paying attention to the red flags. Like you go through a guy's pictures and you see him in pictures with guns, holding marijuana, sacks of money, you know, those are red flags. You understand what I'm saying? Because any self-respect, not saying that those men are not respectful, but any self-respecting man for me is not going to be showing off that he's got money, he's got guns, he's smoking drugs, you know, all of these kind of things. If those are the kind of things that you learn after you get to know someone. And if they're already displaying that on there, that means they don't care about what people think. Because I think, you know, I got friends who've gotten fired from their bosses going on their social media pages and they're passing drug tests, but you're clearly they're smoking marijuana and they're trying to figure out how you passing this drug test. It's the same thing. It's a red flag, you know, and people have to pay attention to that. You know, there are some men who will do harm to you just because of who you are. And it's like I was just saying to someone the other day, I understand what's going on with the cis Black men and the police. So if you're saying that Black Lives Matter, I am for that, because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. But all Black lives can't matter until you understand that all Black lives matter. That includes everybody in the LGBT plus community and also trans men and trans women. And so that has to be something that has to be established. You know, I was a part of the Black Lives Matter, and I received maybe 15, 20 messages telling me that this is not the time, don't be decisive, you know, we're not trying to divide. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I wasn't trying to divide, but trans lives do matter, and I'm Black. So am I not a part of that umbrella? You know, and if I'm not a part of that umbrella, then why should I be marching for a cause or speaking on a cause that doesn't reflect me? I feel like it's the same fight all over again, because most like with our gay community, there was a transsexual and a drag queen who threw the first rock. There was you know, and they were Black. You understand what I'm saying? We've been fighting the good fight for a long time. And I tell my white gay brothers and sisters and my Black gay brothers and sisters, it's because of a woman like me that you're able to walk down the street holding someone's hand and kissing in public.
You know,
but when we were fighting for those rights, they didn't. I guess we wasn't fighting for our own. I thought we were in that umbrella as well. You know, all these things that we've been doing to ensure that the gay community is okay and that we have all these rights, and then the rights don't apply to us, transgender folks.
Now, you know, let's go